Hello, fellow control engineers. Welcome back to another entry in our MATLAB for Beginners course. My name is Sergio Castano, and if you haven't watched all the videos in our MATLAB for Beginners course yet, here is the link to the full playlist of videos for this course. In today's video, we're going to see how we can extract specific data from within a matrix. In the previous video, we already learned how to create matrices. Now, let's see how I can specify or extract certain internal data from the matrix, or a specific set of values within the matrix. So, let's take a look at how to capture this data. Let's see how it's done. Once again, you can find all the information from this video at controlautomaticoeducation.com. The link is in the description of this video. So, let's get started.
If you want, you can increase the playback speed of the video to make the explanation much faster or more dynamic. Hello friends, so here we are inside our MATLAB environment, and today we're going to learn how to capture different data within a MATLAB matrix. In the previous video, we saw how to create matrices and how to use MATLAB's functions to create specific matrices. So, as you can see from that previous video, we created this matrix Z, which is a 3x3 square matrix that we already have here in the workspace. So I'm simply calling it up. It's the matrix we created in the previous video. In this video, we're going to learn how to capture a specific piece of data within that matrix. Let's suppose I want to capture the value that's here, 0.01. So I need to call my variable. In this case, I named this matrix zeta, so my variable is zeta. Again, I open parentheses, enter the row where the data I want to capture is located, then a comma, and then the column. In matrices, it's always the row first and then the column. So if I want to capture that 0.01, I type my matrix, which in this case is called Z, and in parentheses, I open and close them, and first I specify the row where 0.01 is located. The 0.01, so we see that this value is in the second row, so I specify that the value is in row 2. And I also need to specify which column. 0.01 is also in column 2, so I indicate that the value is in column 2. So, I'm telling it to take from the Z matrix the value that is in row 2, column 2, and it will then return 0.01. This way, I can capture data within a matrix. The same applies if I want to capture, for example, this 3x3 value. Again, I need to specify which row the 3x3 is in. It'll say it's in the first row and in the third column. So, column 3, 1, 3, and there it captures the 3x3 value. Alright, friends, now let's think about what happens if I want to capture all the data in an entire row. In that case, we simply enter it as follows. We write the name of the variable, in this case the variable z. Then again we open and close parentheses. Here, I want to capture the entire row 2, so we know that we enter the row number first. So, it'll say, I want you to capture row 2, comma, and since I want to capture all the numbers, that is, I'm capturing all the columns in row 2. We see that 10 is in column 1, 0.1 in column 2, and minus 0.4 in column 3. So, we are capturing all the columns that are in row 2. We've already chosen row 2, so now take all the columns. How do we tell it to do that? We simply say comma, colon. By telling MATLAB this, it will take all the values in row 2. And here we see that it does indeed retrieve all the values from row 2. In the same way, if I want to capture all the values from a column, we know that columns go in the second slot. So again, we say Z, open and close parentheses, and we say we want to capture all the rows in column 3. Since I'm telling it to capture all the rows, I use a colon, comma, and then I specify which column I want to capture. In this case, I want the last column, the third column. This way, it will capture all the values that are in the last column of the matrix. Now, let's see what happens when we have our matrix and I want to capture the last value. Here we have our matrix and we want to capture the minus 6. So, just like we did with vectors, you remember that in parentheses we would specify to capture the last element. Here we do the same thing. We can easily tell it 3x3, since we know this is a 3x3 matrix, and it will select the minus 6 for us. But we can also tell it to take the last element in the rows, the last element in the columns, using n, and it will select the last element for me, the number 6. What if I only wanted to select 2 values? From the second row of that matrix, it's going to be very similar to how we did it with vectors. So again, I tell it z. I open and close parentheses, and inside the parentheses, I'm going to say, okay, position yourself in row 2. So I tell it to go to row 2. And there I have to tell it to capture these 2 values. Thank you. So we do it just like we did with vectors. We knew that one way to do it is to say, take from column 1, because here, remember, the first number is the rows, comma, And now come the column, so I'm going to tell it, take the number from column 1 up to, colon, and the colon means up to column 2. So this way it will take those two values for me. Another way to do it, or else could we do it? I could tell it, take the value from column 1 to the end. But the end would mean taking it up to 3, from 1 to 3, but I don't want to capture the minus 0.4. So I simply subtract 1. Subtracting 1 will do the same thing, and it will just capture those two elements. These are different ways to do it. As you can see, in programming there are different ways to accomplish things. Over time, you'll develop that programming logic. Let's look at another example. What happens if we want to capture these two elements in the column? The same concept applies. We say Z. In this case, we want to capture row 2 and row 3, which are numbers located in column 2. So, once again, remember that we specify the rows first. So, I'm going to say, capture from row 2 up to row 3 using a colon. Then, we specify the column. To indicate the column, we say, comma, and then we specify the column. Which column are the data in? They're in the second column, so we use column 2. Then we close the parenthesis. What we're telling it is, take the data from row 2 to row 3 in column 2, which is what we see here. When we press enter, it takes those two values. Is there another way we could do this? Yes, just like we saw in the video about vectors, we can also do it here using curly brackets. Thank you. We can simply tell it to take value 2, space, value 3, and there, it will also capture those two values for me. What if I wanted to capture this minus 4 and this 2, but I don't want to capture the 0.01? We do it like this. Here, we tell it to only capture 1, meaning the minus 4, row 1 and row 3. So, row 1 and row 3, which are minus 4 and 2, from column 2, and then it returns those values to me. Alright friends, with this we've learned how to capture data found within MATLAB matrices. With this, we're becoming much more familiar with the software, and we're learning more and more things that we can soon apply. All these basic concepts we've acquired can be used in complex engineering programs that we'll encounter throughout our academic careers. Let me know in the comments if you liked this video, what you want me to teach you in the next video, and what you'd like to see in this MATLAB course for beginners. Give the video a like if you enjoyed it, or a dislike if you didn't. Don't forget to share this video with your friends so they can learn how to program in MATLAB too. Subscribe to the channel, and they'll see you in the next video. You can follow me on my social media, subscribe to my channel by clicking on my photo and turning on the notification bell, and don't forget to watch the next video.